Let's be honest, we're all looking for a shortcut. That little hack, that faster way to get what we want. But what if the ultimate shortcut came with a price tag you couldn't see? Well, this is a story about a guy who learns that the easy way out is almost always a trap.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty bold thing to say. It's so confident, almost arrogant, right? But before we find out who's talking, you need to understand just how high the stakes really are.
So I want you to picture this, a super fancy casino. The air is just thick with tension, and all eyes are on this one table where a massive bet of 20 lakh is sitting. I mean, that's life-changing money. One man is about to win it all, and the other is about to lose absolutely everything. And the difference between these two guys is just night and day. On one side, you have Gaurav, and you can just see the panic in his eyes. His entire world is about to fall apart. And on the other side, this guy they call Lucky. He is so unbelievably calm, he hasn't even bothered to look at his own cards. Finally, Gaurav just can't take the pressure anymore. He slams his cards down on the table, 3 kings. I mean, that's a fantastic hand. For just a split second, you can see the relief wash over his face. He thinks, I've won. I'm saved. But that feeling doesn't last long. Lucky just kind of smiles and says that same creepy line again. Then, so casually, he flips over his cards, 3 aces. And just like that, it's over. Gaurav is bankrupt, completely and utterly wiped out in a single moment. Gaurav is at rock bottom. But here's the thing, he's not even angry. He's just in awe. He corners Lucky, totally desperate, and asks him, How? How could you possibly be so sure you were going to win? At this point, he is willing to do literally anything to have that kind of power.
And this, right here, is where the story takes a really dark turn. Lucky starts talking about his philosophy. He says stuff like, hard work, that's just a distraction. It's a lie to keep you busy while the real power is somewhere else. He offers Gaurav the ultimate shortcut.
But this secret isn't something you just chat about over a drink. Oh no. Lucky gives Gaurav one simple instruction. If he really wants to know, he has to meet him at midnight at the city cemetery. Alone.
So, Gaurav actually does it. He drives out to this creepy cemetery, his mind just racing. Lucky slides into the car and lays out the plan. And it's right then that Gaurav realizes this has nothing to do with poker skills or strategy. This is something much, much darker.
The instructions are, well, they're insane, but they're laid out so simply. Step 1, go in alone. Step 2, find a specific grave for another guy also named Lucky. Step 3, dig up his body. And step 4, take this nail and hammer it into the corpse's head. It's presented like a recipe, just this cold, simple task you have to complete. Gaurav is obviously terrified. Who wouldn't be? But Lucky, he's a good salesman. He frames his horrible act as just a test of courage. He says, hey, I've done this myself. You saw my luck? The reward is worth it. He's selling this shortcut, and the only price is your nerve. And Gaurav, completely blinded by this promise of easy success, he actually goes through with it. He's digging, he's shaking with fear, but all he can think about is never losing again, having that power. He picks up the hammer, and he does it. The next thing he knows, he's waking up in his own bed. The sun is streaming through the window, and for a second, he thinks, it must have been a nightmare. It had to be. He lets out this huge sigh of relief. It was all just a terrible, awful dream.
But then, a voice echoes inside his head, a voice that is definitely not his own. It tells him he was brave, that he succeeded, and then it gives him his new name. The dream, it was real, and the consequences are just getting started.
So what really happened here? This wasn't about learning some secret trick. Gaurav made a deal. He got what he wanted. Unbelievable luck. But the price was insane. There's now this entity, sharing his body, slowly consuming him, and it has one simple rule. Find the next victim before you die.
His head is throbbing, and then he remembers. That first guy, Lucky, he gave him a note and told him to read it only when the time was right. Suddenly, it all clicks. The time is now.
He pulls the note out of his pocket, and his blood just runs cold. The man he met wasn't a master of luck. He was a prisoner, looking for his replacement. He didn't teach Gaurav a secret. He passed on a curse. He freed himself by trapping Gaurav in his place.
So Gaurav got everything he thought he wanted. He has infinite luck, he can win any game, get anything he desires. But he isn't free. He's stuck in a gilded cage, forced to enjoy his winnings, while he desperately searches for the next desperate person to take his place.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, that line. When we first heard it, it sounded like pure confidence, right? A boast. But now we know what it really is. It's not a statement of power. It's the mantra of a prisoner, stuck in a winning streak he can never, ever escape. Look, obviously this is a pretty spooky story, but it leaves you with a very real question, doesn't it? We're all tempted by the easy path, the hack, the quick fix. But this whole thing makes you wonder, what's the hidden cost? And which shortcuts just aren't worth the price?